Good morning, good morning, good morning. A lot of energy in the room. How much do we love that? Awesome. So I want to welcome everybody joining us virtually on YouTube, Facebook, and Zoom. Welcome everybody here in the room. We got all kinds of folks still coming in. This is fabulous. So let me get back to the beginning of my script so I know what I'm actually doing. So we believe that we're all here by divine appointment. Something inside of us nudges us to do whatever it is that we're doing. So something nudged you to be here, which means you likely came for a reason. So what is it that you are aware that you came here for this morning? What's alive in you? Awesome. Peace. Gratitude. Community. If you're joining us virtually, feel free to use whatever chat function you have available to participate. And I invite you to just hold that energy throughout the service today and see how it shows up for you. It might be in the music, it might be in the message, it might be in the person next to you, it might be in the chair you're sitting in. Who knows? So we're going to turn it over now to our musicians, Love Eternal, for our first two community songs. Here we go.
Good morning.
Hello, hello. Getting ready to sing. You guys sound so lovely when you've been joining us. Very grateful.
Oh, life, oh, life. Let it not let one moment go by without being grateful. Grateful for this life. Oh, life, oh, life. Let it not let one moment go by without being grateful. Let's do that again. Grateful for this life. Oh, life, oh, life. Let it not let one moment go by without being grateful. Grateful for this life. Oh, life, oh, life. Let it not let one moment go by without being grateful. Grateful I am, grateful I am, grateful I am, grateful I am. Grateful I am, grateful I am, grateful I am. Trusting I am, trusting I am, trusting I am. Trusting I am, trusting I am, trusting I am. Peaceful I am, peaceful I am, peaceful I am. Peaceful I am, peaceful I am, peaceful I am. Loving I am, loving I am, loving I am. Loving I am, loving I am, loving I am. Grateful for this life, oh life, oh life. Let I not let one moment go by without being grateful. Grateful for this life, oh life, oh life. Let I not let one moment go by without being grateful for this life. Thank you. Y'all sound beautiful. And then I think we got feeling better all the time. I'm feeling better all the time. Oh, I'm feeling better better, feeling better all the time. Oh, I'm feeling better all the time. Yes, I'm feeling better all the time. 'Cause I am truly blessed. We're gonna sing a little verse here. Because I am not a victim, no. And there is no one here to blame. So I acknowledge God's presence here as my life. I feel joy this day. I feel joy this day. I feel peace this day. I feel faith in humanity this day. And when I go into a place inside where everything will be alright, I know everything's okay. Oh, I'm feeling better all the time. Oh, I'm feeling better all the time. Yes, I'm feeling better all the time. 'Cause I am truly blessed. You guys sound beautiful. I'm feeling better all the time. Oh, I'm feeling better all the time. Yes, I'm feeling better all the time. 'Cause I am truly blessed. One last time. I'm feeling better all the time. Oh, I'm feeling better all the time. Yes, I'm feeling better all the time. Because I am truly blessed. Thank you.
Thank you. So, this is my second to the last time that I get to do this. So, if I start getting emotional, well, welcome to me. So, it is my pleasure to remind us of who we are, what Sierra Center is, what we're up to. We are a radically inclusive, hi Kathy, spiritually progressive, supportive, intra-faith community that celebrates the diversity of creation. We strive to live authentic lives through a practical application of spiritual principles. We engage in sacred practices that uplift our spirit, deepen our awareness, and ignite our soul's self-expression. We demonstrate active compassion to ourselves, each other, and the world. We experience meaningful contribution through giving generously of our time, talents, and treasures. And we intentionally share our community and the teachings of science of mind and spirit. And one of the things that we do to put our commitment to inclusion into physical practice is our inclusion candlelighting ritual. We light these candles to celebrate the unity of all peoples, all faiths, all beings, all life. We light the first candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples. We light the second candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the third candle for Taoism, honoring the path of ultimate reality, the natural way. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the middle way and path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the teachings of Jesus as the path of love, forgiveness, and healing by the presence within. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of New Thought teachings, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through a practice of the universal spiritual principles of love and law. We light the 10th candle for absolute inclusivity, affirming that all are welcome and celebrated here. And we light this final candle, honoring the infinity of oneness as all creation, seen and unseen. Thank you, Deborah. So now I'm going to turn it back over to Love Eternal, where we get to sing some more.
All right, wonderfuls. We have a few more times of singing this lovely song together, and I can't tell you what it's bringing for me. I heard this term called collective effervescence. I think that does it a little bit of justice. Come to the music for my I come to the music for my soul. Just like they
I'm so glad that song is recorded on every service that you've done it, so I can just like snag it and loop it and just listen to it for hours if I want to. It is just such a precious song. Thank you. Thank you. This is our time of announcements. Remind everybody that we still have our Manifestation Mastery group. We're meeting on Tuesdays, and you have two options. You can come at noon to 1, or you can come 5:30 to 6:30. We also still have our Science of Mind study group. Let me go this way. Nope, now I got to go this way. I'm dancing with things that you can't see in the room. But the live stream people are like, where'd his head go? Science of Mind Study Group meets on Thursdays, noon to 1 and 5:30 to 6:30. We do ask for a $10 investment in each group that you attend, and that helps keep this facility going and the lights on. And right now, the heat on. This coming Sunday, a week from today, you may have heard something's happening. It is actually the 26th. Thank you, Dee Danelli. She reminded me last week, and it has stuck in there. It's amazing how that happens. It will be my last Sunday as the senior minister here at Sierra Center. And as part of that, we're going to engage in some ceremony and some collaboration. Reverend Julie and I will co-facilitate the service. We're going to figure out this week what that's going to look like, because we don't know yet. And then, as my final act as the senior minister, my final official duty, I will install Reverend Julia as the bridge minister for Sierra Center. And then we're going to hang out and hopefully have something to eat. We are asking people to bring stuff so that we can do a potluck afterwards. And so the center will provide the cake, so please bring food items, lest we have a dessert fair. And I really hope everyone who is local will choose to join us. It's going to be a really special Sunday. Yeah, that's it. I'm going to shut up now. And I'm going to get out of the way and let our practitioner this morning, Deborah Ellis, do what she does.
Good morning, beautiful people. So I have the invitation this morning of talking about the community value that Sierra Center for Spiritual Living community members chose as a value to focus on. And it's been really wonderful to go through these values and continue to contemplate what they mean to me. And so I want to invite you to do that, because really, ultimately, you get to decide what things mean to you. So the community value this morning is integrity. And I will share vulnerably with you that my heart feels really tender this morning as I think about integrity. And as I consider it, I'll invite you to just pause for a moment and think about, when you hear the word integrity, what comes up for you? And as you do that, I'll just add what it is for me. So it's twofold for me. So there's honesty, there's that cash register honesty that we practice out in the outer world, right? There's our character in the world, how we conduct ourselves, and all that goes with that. And, you know, it's a moral kind of standing, I think, you know?
And I'm so grateful that I was raised with morals and that I have those. And then the second part is that inner integrity. That inner integrity that I practice when nobody's looking, nobody knows. It's those moments when I can pause before I open my mouth, right? Or before I push send on that email. Or before I give you a piece of my mind and let you know what I think about whatever it is, right? And that place in me is the standing on the agency of what I value. That if I say I value respect for all life, which includes all humans, all life, right? Then, yeah, I'm going to want to pause and really consider the impact of what I'm about to say or about to do. Now, sometimes I miss the mark on that. And I always know that there's a place where I can make amend, where I can take responsibility for what I've done or said, and know that I'm already forgiven, and then I just get to forgive myself. And I get to make a reconciliation, an agreement, a bridge, amend in the places that I've maybe missed the mark. So as we go into our meditation, I'm going to invite you to consider integrity for yourself. And how does that show up in your life? And what does that mean to you? So I invite you now just to take a breath and turn within for our meditation. Oh, our bowls. God, I am just, here's the thing. Spirit is having its way with me. So I'm doing this, and it may be out of order. But that's okay. All right, so we're going to do, before we go within for the meditation, we're going to do our ringing of the bell 3 times, and then we're going to do 3 ohms together. Because that's... one. One power. One infinite, all-knowing source. Moving, expressing, articulating, beaming, right here. It is perfect joy. It is perfect peace. It is love. And it is reigning supreme back of all of life. It is my very life. It is my breath. And so as we breathe a little bit deeper in this moment, knowing that this breath is the breath of all of life, it knows no beginning and no end. And so it's from this place of recognizing what is happening right here, right now, that I speak a word of blessing for this time together in spiritual community, claiming and affirming that there is perfection, that seed of life that is knowing itself exquisitely as each beloved that is present right here and beyond. And so I give great thanks this morning. I give great thanks this morning for this place of sensitivity and connection and love and this open-hearted knowing that we truly are all connected and that life is unfolding perfectly in an order beyond knowing, and that all is truly well this morning as we gather together, as we know one another, as we give thanks for our very breath. And so breathing deeper and just allowing this one to have its way in and through and as each one of us. And so I anchor now in this knowing, and even greater than I could speak in this moment. I'm filled with gratitude. And so I simply now release into that alchemy of love. And I anchor now by saying, and so it is. And so it is. Welcome, everyone that's tuning in this morning from wherever you are. We're so glad you're here with us. So good to be here this morning. And so I am Deborah Ellis, and I am a practitioner in service here at Sierra Center this morning. And I am going to lead us in our affirmation. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read it, and then we can read it together. I am a catalyst for change in the world. I am a catalyst for change in the world. And so it is.
Lovey turn up. I'm going to read the lyrics to one part of it because sometimes it gets lost here. As we stood at the walls of opposition with our fists clenched and we stared each other down, wondering which one of us was going to turn first, but then the love comes through like the grass tearing up the concrete streets, and those walls, they crumble down and lay as dust below our feet, which we used to build a temple, and we christened it with a song. And if I've learned anything at all through this, it's that love heals all. Joy returning to my life, and I know, yes I know that everything's gonna be just fine if I can just put my faith in you. That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do. And I feel a renewed sense of passion in my life, and I know, yes I know that everything's gonna to the next. And say yes, and say yes. Tell me what have we learned that love heals all. Say what have we learned that love heals all. You guys can sing that part. So I'll sing what have we learned, and y'all sing love heals all. What have we learned that love heals all? Say what have we learned that love heals all? So let us be more loving, and let our walk with compassion, and let us be more trusting, and let us be more humble, yeah. May I always rise to the occasion of forgiveness for myself and for this world that surely needs it. Tell me what have we learned that love heals all? Say what have we learned that love heals all? Tell me now what have we learned that love heals all? Say what have we learned that love heals all? As we stood on the position with our fists clenched, and we stared each other down, which one of us was gonna turn first? But then the love comes through like the grass here in the concrete streets, and those walls that crumble down, and there's dust below our feet, which we use to build a temple, and we christened it with a song. And if I've learned anything at all through this, it's that love heals all. So now what have we learned? Love heals all. Say what have we learned? Love heals all. Say what have we learned? Love heals all. Tell me now what have we learned? Love heals all. So let's be more loving, and let's have more compassion, and let's be more trusting, and let's be more humble, yeah. May I always rise to the occasion of forgiveness for myself and for this world that surely needs it. Tell me what have we learned that love heals all? Say what have we learned that love heals all? Tell me now what have we learned that love heals all? What have we learned? Thank you.
That's actually quite a perfect song for today's talk. The world is an oyster. Let's take a breath together. So I think the first thing we have to do is get clear what the heck we're talking about when we say the world. Because are we talking about a physical structure, the earth? Because that's what a lot of us talk about when we say the world. Are we talking about that plus everything that surrounds it that is sometimes synonymous with the universe as the world? Are we talking about social interaction in that place where when on March 20th, 2020, often we refer to it as the world shut down? Did it? Depends on how we define world. Or are we talking about our own experience in life? Because how many of us default to, well, they're just living in their own little world? So it's kind of challenging, this thing called language. I mean, we have one of our visions for the whole Centers for Spiritual Living is a world that works for all. How are we defining world? Right? Because if I'm defining it as my world, I'm pretty sure it already works for me. Because that's what I do. I make my world work for me. I'm going to ask you to conceptualize all of the divergent definitions of world in the context of one. That each of those is a valid expression of world and yet create no separation. Right? Because I do have my own experience, you have your own experience, so perhaps I'm living in my own little world within a world of worlds, right? Perhaps. And you might wonder, how does that parallel with an oyster? Well, I'm not a marine biologist, but oysters are quite fascinating. And I learned about them mostly when I was doing I used to have a business back in North Carolina, Creative Legacies Incorporated, and pearls are an amazing thing. But pearls are just a byproduct. The oyster itself is pretty magnificent. For starters, you have this slimy thing inside of a really hard shell, right? And all those bumpy things on the outside of the shell, do you know that all of those little nooks and crannies have a purpose in the overall health of the ocean? That each one of those little nooks and crannies actually provide a home for some other creature in the ocean. That oysters are actually oftentimes brought in to create a more balanced ecosystem in the water because they filter nitrogen out of the water in their nutrient process. And as they're sifting plankton through to nourish themselves, they're feeding from stuff in the ocean. They're helping cleanse the ocean. And what most people don't know, because what we're typically taught is that pearls come from a grain of sand that gets in there and irritates it. Very rarely is it actually a grain of sand. Typically it's a parasite. Right? But it is something that creates an irritation and a threat to the well-being of the oyster. Now I want you to think about that from the global perspective, from the world perspective, from a oneness perspective. What do we do when something threatens us or gets inside of our shell and irritates us? Most of us, if we're being honest, try to get away from it, or we try to annihilate it. We're really good at that. If it irritates me, I'll just get rid of it. The oyster, on the other hand, does not. The oyster actually embraces it, and it secretes chemicals to cover it, right? To remove the irritation of it. And what most people don't know is what the oyster is actually doing is secreting the exact same chemicals that make up its own shell. It's called nacre, and it is the same, what pearls are made of is the exact same substance that oyster shell is made of. So if we get that, what it's doing is covering the irritant with itself to heal itself. And as it does that, it produces something of greater value and beauty. What if we understood oneness from the perspective of an oyster? That those irritants in life are the divine calling us, offering us the opportunity to meet that irritant with our divine self, to wrap it in our divine self, to embody it within our divine self, and turn every irritant into a precious gem. What if that? But that's a stretch for a lot of us. We just want the irritant gone. And a lot of us I talk to, we perceive spiritual practice as too much work. I don't want to work that hard. Well, you don't have to, but you get to. And you get to actually reconceptualize it as not hard. Because if what you're doing is secreting yourself to cover yourself, all you're really doing is being yourself. The irritant is perhaps information that you are just out of alignment with yourself. Perhaps. Then it's not so hard, right? I think what makes spiritual practice hard for us is that when we perceive an irritation, we instantly externalize it. The oyster offers us a different perspective. The irritant is always within the oyster. It's never on the outside. I've dealt with a lot of pearls. I've opened a lot of oysters to harvest pearls. Never once have I seen a pearl on the outside of the shell. The irritant is not on the outside. The irritant is on the inside. And I'm already equipped. You are already equipped with everything you need to cover it. It's your divine nature. Not all pearls are round. Did you know that? There's a magnificent body of work in the universe called Baroque pearls. They're beautiful. They're naturally shaped, and I say that with laughter as if the round ones are something other than natural, right? But that's how they're advertised, naturally shaped pearls. And I'm like, the other ones are shaped by nature too. But isn't it funny how we frame things? Right? So perhaps the lesson there is that not every oyster creates the same. Not every person creates the same. Maybe we were never intended for sameness. Maybe oneness has nothing to do with sameness, and differences have nothing to do with separation. And that's the hardest thing. I love these discussion groups that we've been having, right? And we're all pretty much in agreement that the hardest thing we wrestle with is this concept of oneness in a world where we experience the physical realm in complete separation. Right? I was the only one in my shower this morning. Right? It didn't feel like oneness in my shower. I'm guessing you might have had the same experience. Right? And yet, there's only one of us here. Now, if God is all there is, and that's what we teach, right? God, the divine, the infinite, whatever you call it. If there's just one thing, doesn't the irritant have to be that also? Right? That thing, that parasite, that whatever it is that's irritating the oyster, is it possible that it's somehow less of the infinite simply because it's an irritant? But it's interesting how our teaching is it's all one. There's only one thing happening until it's an irritant. Until it's somebody we don't like. Until it's something we don't like. Then we're all too quick to jump to separation. We're all too quick to polarize and point fingers. I offer you the example of the oyster. And perhaps I was a member of CSA, the Center for Spiritual Awareness, down in West Sac for quite a while. And Reverend Georgia started every Sunday morning acknowledging that everything is either an expression of love or a call for love. No exceptions. So what if the nacre, the body, the shell of the oyster, the protection of the oyster, what if our divine protection is love? Right? The pre-talk song, love heals all. So what if whatever irritant shows up, we dare to wrap it in love, no matter what. No matter what. That we actually have the audacity to love beyond what our brain is comfortable comprehending. For those of you that are Bible-based, it says love one another. It doesn't say like one another. You don't have to like people. You don't have to like what they do. That's not what it asks us to do. It asks us to love one another. I can love you from a distance, and I can love the distance between us. Right? There's nothing unloving about that. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do is give each other space. I was having a conversation with someone yesterday who, because I'm from the East Coast, I grew up 2.5 hours from Columbia, Maryland, where we're going. And the healing of my family relationships, my birth family relationships, was to be loving enough to leave each other alone. Okay? And they suggested that perhaps there would be a reunification. And I chuckled. And what I shared with this person was I learned a long time ago that if I don't want a haircut, stay out of the barber shop. There's no need for reconciliation. But notice how in this human realm we can view a healthy love of distance as needing to change. Perhaps the healthiest thing for everybody is that we just wrap each other in love and leave each other alone. Perhaps. We don't need to change other people. We don't need to change somebody else's path. What the oyster is inviting us to do is wrap every irritant in love. And to keep excreting love and to keep covering it until it's truly transformed. Transformation, true transformation, and I'm going to wrap up with this. True transformation renders the original version unrecognizable. That's true transformation. And I defy you to look at a pearl and see a parasite. It's transformed. That irritant, whatever it is, has been transformed. And what we see is beauty. And what we see is awe and wonder. If you want to create a world that works for all, start wrapping everything that irritates you in love until it is unrecognizable as an irritant. Until you can look at whatever that is and it's precious and valuable and you're in awe of it. what's available to us. Let's take this into prayer. There is only one source, one substance, one love, one life, one oyster, one world, expressing in multiplicity, fully infusing its creation with all that it is, fully wrapping its creation in all that it is, transforming its creation to magnificence. I am that. And what is true of me is true of all life, that each and every expression of this one is already holy, already perfect, already complete, never separate from itself. And so within each exquisitely individualized expression is all that the infinite is. And so I know that as I affirm this one, this wholeness, that every thought is the activity of it. Every word is the activity of it. And so I speak my word, claiming and affirming a rising up in consciousness and awareness of the power within each to transform every irritant into the magnificence simply by wrapping it in the love that we are, by excreting more love. The more irritated, the more love, until love transforms every irritant to magnificence. I claim it as so. And I know that the word spoken is the word fulfilled, so I know it's already done. So I release myself from attending to time and space and simply live in the faith that it's already done. And I look for the evidence of it being done more than the evidence of it being not done. Grateful that the word spoken is the word fulfilled, so I can confidently let go and let it be. And so I do. And I invite you to join me in this deep, deep healing as we say together, and so it is. Let's take a breath. It's the fishiest talk I've ever given. Welcome to the inside. It's time for our prosperity. So I invite you to participate in the law of reciprocity, to give in direct correlation as you have received. Let's say our prosperity affirmation together, shall we? I give this gift with love and joy from a consciousness of abundance. Divine love blesses and prospers all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Please receive the gifts.
I'm going to do a song for you called Forgiveness, because it feels like it fits that talk lovingly, something like that. You know what I'm trying to say. Well, it's time. It's time to forgive this humanity. We're just being humanity. Well, it's them, I know not what they do. Lord, forgive them when they know not what they do. Can't forgive the act, but we can forgive the actor. Just a blind sheep roaming around in a pasture. Never know not what they do. Lord, forgive us when we know not what we do. Well, it's time to forgive this humanity for just being humanity. What if it was forgiveness before instead of after? What if our love was like jazz, everlasting? What if it was peace even in the face of war? 'Cause I can't even remember, said what are we fighting for? Some think there's not enough resources on the planet, but I know Mother will provide. We just got to respect her. Some think there's not enough room in heaven, but 144,000 it is just the beginning. So I take the book of Revelation and rewrite it. If you believe in evil, then you surely will sight it. If you search for demons, then demons you will find. But the only demon is the one in our own mind. So I stay with divine peace, divine love, divine trust. Yes, I stay with divine peace, divine love, divine trust. I stay with divine peace, divine love, divine trust. And I know with divine faith in God it must transcend. To persevere, have no fear, only love's voice when I hear God is saying, just saying, forgive, forgive, forgive. God is saying, forgive, forgive, forgive. Divine is saying, forgive, forgive, forgive. Love is saying, forgive, forgive, forgive. Jack is saying, forgive. Thank you.
So I speak a word of blessing, a word of gratitude, a word of acknowledgement for this divine in the form of money that sustains and grows Sierra Center and our nonprofit community partners as we give through Sierra Center to do good work in the world. And so it is. Let's see, if I go around this way, I'm likely to catch everybody. Thank you, Juanita, for being our wizard behind the curtain. Thank you, Hillary, for our PowerPoint. Thank you. Thank you, Jill, for being our greeter and our usher. Thank you, Carl, for bringing our flowers. Thank you, Deborah, for being our practitioner. Oh my God, I'm going to miss you too. Whew. Thank you. Thank you, Jared. Thank you, Shauna. As love eternal. Yeah. And thank you. And thank you. It's a lot more fun with people in the room. So we do have a board meeting at 11:30. So we'll be doing a few changes to make space for that, but don't let that run you off immediately. Just know that we do have a board meeting at 11:30. So I think that's all of the reminders. Just a reminder of next week. It's going to be amazing. That I do know. So what are you leaving with today? Gratitude. Forgiveness. Pearls. Marine biology lesson. I apologize to anyone who is a marine biologist for that.
Well, we're not, so you did great.
All right, let's stand and do our benediction. Something wonderful is happening as me right now. It is this thing called life. It is this thing called love. It is this thing called transformation. I know it. I feel it. I sense it. Because I am it. And so it is.
Alders. We feeling better all the time. I'm feeling better all the time. Oh, I'm feeling better all the time. Yes, I'm feeling better all the time. Because I am truly blessed. Feeling better all the time. Oh, I'm feeling better all the time. Yes, I'm feeling better all the time. Because I am truly blessed. One more time. I'm feeling better all the time. Oh, I'm feeling better all the time. Yes, I'm feeling better all the time. Because I am truly blessed. Thank you so much.